This is Fritz Frivolous with continuous live coverage of the corner of Curious Lane and Just Because Boulevard, the epicenter of the alien invasion. And this just in, King Kong is fighting the Mobile Suit Gundam. And of course, all of this is happening amidst World War IV, making it pure pandemonium. If only Captain Planet were still alive to save us all. Dude, could you imagine? Game of Thrones, a fantasy drama series on HBO created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. They adapted the show from a series of fantasy novels written by George R.R. Martin. The show ran from 2011 to 2019, spanning 8 seasons and 73 episodes. It was an outstanding success, making television history and winning 59 primetime Emmys, which is more than any drama series. Then, the show ended. It ended with a horrifically bad ending. It crashed and burned, receiving backlash from critics and fans alike. But what if you could change that ending? What if you were able to provide fans with the ending not only they deserved, but the show deserved? Let us listen in to Winterfell's most trusted advisors, Will and Tom, as they drink and know things. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tom Case.
And I'm Will Stark.
So, Will, I was thinking about this question because I saw an ad where they're going to make a prequel.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, prequel is my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? But it started making me think. Uh-huh. What if you could redo the ending to Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
And spoiler alert, everyone, if you haven't already seen this, too bad, because you should have by now.
Oh, yeah, spoilers. Yeah, I guess so. That's important. Yeah, spoilers for Game of Thrones. Don't watch the ending. It sucks.
Yeah, that's the spoiler. Yeah. So you're pretty much lucky if you only made it to season 7. After that, just imagine your own badass ending, and it'll be better. That's
what really happened.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is a strange phenomenon, isn't it? Because it completely, I mean this, completely dominated the zeitgeist while it was on its run. Like, it was everywhere. Everyone was watching it. It was breaking records left and right.
Yes, it was.
It was on every bit of merchandise and every bit of store. There was T-shirts everywhere. Like, it was a phenomenon. And then the ending was so bad that everyone pretends like it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. And that's crazy to me.
It eclipsed the bad Sopranos ending. Like, I don't know if you remember.
I know.
So the Sopranos was a really awesome show. Yeah. I loved the show, and the ending was horrible.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But not as horrible as Game of Thrones.
Was it horrible in that, like, it's widely accepted as being horrible? Like, does your average
like that was the
that?
Exactly. Yeah, wow. The average person who did watch Sopranos, they would like, well, what's going on?
So it's like Dexter.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly.
Notoriously bad ending, which Game of Thrones ending does eclipse.
Oh,
Dexter.
Yes.
So before we get into it, are you? I don't know how familiar you are with, like, the people involved with making the show. You know, HBO obviously makes the show, but they signed on 2 gentlemen, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know them? You know who they are?
Yes.
Okay. They were the showrunners and producers and main writers and all that other stuff. Well, they had gotten signed on near the end of their run with Game of Thrones with Disney to direct some Star Wars related things.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You heard about this? Okay. And
which I pretty much felt like they were like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones, we're just going to finish this real quick. And
very much so. And I think if anything proves that, it's that HBO wanted there to be 2 more seasons after season 7. So there was, like, as far
that would have made more sense.
Yes, as far as HBO was concerned, they wanted a season 8 and a season 9 to finish off the story. Yeah. And when D&D, they call them, when D&D refused, they wanted at least a 13 episode final season, and D&D refused that too. They wanted, in this, what was it, 8 episodes, if that?
I think so. Yeah,
it might have been 6, bro.
I know it was at least shorter than
low number. Yeah. To me, that is such a huge red flag. It means
it was so rushed.
Don't give a fuck. They want this over with. And, like, dude, like, I'm sorry, like, no matter, I don't know how arrogant you got to be to have that attitude towards this thing that has become such a cultural phenomenon worldwide. But, like, obviously, this thing that became the biggest thing since fucking, I don't know, Star Wars is probably your magnum opus, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's the thing
exactly.
you're going to be remembered for forever. Like, you're not going to go and make something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't care if it was Star Wars you were going to. Like, if you had stuck this landing, no one, like, people would have just added those Star Wars at the tail end of your achievement.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point because of the fact that you're right. I already have my names for Star Wars related stuff.
Yeah,
like I already have those names in my head. Benioff and Weiss. I'm not going to relate those names to Star Wars. I'm going to relate those names to Game of Thrones. Yeah.
It's obviously your magnum opus. You should take pride in that. Why aren't you finishing this the way it should be finished? I don't know if it's the money. I don't know if you got sick of it.
I think the Disney overlords came and, you know what I mean? The House of Mouse was like, we're going to pay you a hefty sum and you better come over to
I think
us,
the House of Mouse probably did twist their arm a little bit by saying, like, well, finish it. Otherwise, we're going to have to give someone else an offer. But you still, like, you got to, like...
Yeah, there's got to balance.
Get your priorities straight here. And, like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I completely lost my train of thought.
For all you viewers right now, I wish you could see the distraught on Will's face, the twisted, like, urgency he has of this dilemma.
If you don't care, if you really don't care, if you don't give a shit that's your magnum opus, you just want the money, then why couldn't you just let someone else take care of the show and you signed it off? Because they had that opportunity too, but no, they refused. So they had some sort of pride attached to it. So anyways, what you end up with is a product made by two people who don't care about the product. They don't respect the source material, even though, like, they had run out of source material by then, which is another problem. But they didn't respect the fans enough to give them a decent product. There's continuity problems. There's characters all over the place, completely jumping development arcs. Like, what should have taken, like, a season or two to develop, it's like, no, they just get from point A to point F and there's nothing in between.
That also kind of caused plot problems
plot problems. There's the failure to deliver on stuff that's been set up forever and the failure to set up big stuff that ends up happening. There's people that completely betray their character and story arc, which is like, sometimes you want to do that with a character to, like, turn your audience against a character. But you don't do that to a bunch of characters that you don't want them to do that to, and it's just going to leave such a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and it did. And
it might have worked, even if they had gone this route with the storyline, but they had the extra 1 to 2 more seasons attached behind it, that probably would have made a little more sense. You could have explained a little bit more. You could have shown certain... aspects of what went on, like flashbacks or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it would have just been better if they did that.
So, basically, with in regards to that, what we ended up with was a rushed product with unearned conclusions with no weight behind them. And a lot of this is because of everything I just said about them not caring. And then the other half is that all the good story points were built on the back of an expert narrator in George R.R. Martin, who is not my favorite author by any means. Like, I don't really even care for the books all that much, but he is exceptionally talented. But for this one, he did, Yeah, he's exceptionally talented. And once they ran out of his material, which is kind of on him because he's such a slow writer, they had to fill in gaps on their own. And people have been complaining since season, like, 6 about the way some gaps were filled. I was more forgiving. I was all the way okay, even through season 7, which had a lot of issues, which were big red flags.
Was it season 7 or season 6 where they stopped having the books from that point? I forget how many books there were.
The end of book 5 is where... the end of season 5. So
so starting of season 6. Okay. 6, 7, and 8, they did on their own.
So that plays its own factor. And we're going to get into, like, specifics here soon. But I'll say this. Even the actors, you could tell that they did not like the end product.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing some interviews after that.
Interview after interview, where they wouldn't go as far as to say something, but you could just tell from their mannerisms, from the way that they avoided certain subjects, or
Emilia Clarke,
smile,
Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys Targaryen, she was very voiceful on how disappointed she was with how they turned her.
We're going to get to her.
It wasn't even just though that they turned her character in such a way, but it was how quickly they did it without too much of a, even though I just real quick, I did hear a lot of people say, oh, why did Daenerys turn that way? I'll be honest, I did see her going that route, though, if starting like at the beginning of I think it was season 6, and especially in season 7, I was like, okay, she seems like she's going that route.
Right.
The way it did end in season 8.
Right.
It just got there too quick. To me, it was too rushed.
So when it comes to Daenerys' story arc and becoming the Mad Queen, there's madness development issues. She doesn't have enough time because there's only 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. And the reason, the fact that Jon won't sleep with her, which we're going to get to that in a second too, that being the thing to set it off, I kind of get what they were going for of she lacked any human connection because all the people she loved had died, and now the one guy that she thought was still a connection, now he's just spurring her and she doesn't understand why. That's such a weak ass she is a strong fucking character. That should not be the reason. But that being said,
strong independent woman.
There was a failure to develop this due to lack of time, but also there should have been some back and forth. Imagine there was time, right, to develop madness. What you're going to want to do with her character is have her start to slide, and then maybe have something happen where the audience becomes hopeful, oh, okay, well, that's good. Maybe she's not turning. Oh, no, she did something.
They need to have the ups and downs.
She's sliding further. Oh, there's hope. Oh, no, she's sliding further. You want to, do that little back and forth until finally she crosses a line so badly that the whole audience is no, and she finally, it's over. But we got none of that. We just got instantly, I'm crazy now.
And I kind of feel like it happened with the death of, what was her name, Melisandre?
Yeah, her and Jorah as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying is they tried to use this, everyone she loved died, but that's not really enough if you ask me. Mm-hmm. Everyone she loves has died multiple times. Mm-hmm. It's kind of her deal.
Yeah. By that point, you would think she would have some way to cope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so on top of that is, I actually feel like the story could have developed better. Almost as if it was a feint. I know you said you were seeing her kind of veer that path. I think that's on purpose. Yeah. I think she was walking a line where she could go in either direction. And she ends up going that one. And I think it would have served the narrative better if it kind of would have faked us out.
Oh, okay.
She not gone mad. She'd held it together.
Oh, yeah, that would have been better.
Big part of the thing is every Targaryen goes mad. And it's of course she would too, until she fucking figures it out and doesn't. Mm-hmm. Because fuck that. She's better than that. She can push through. Another thing I think is interesting is they really pushed the whole incest thing between her and Jon. And I get that, especially from a modern sensibility, although we've had it stuffed in our faces with Jaime and Cersei for fucking years now.
Yeah, exactly. Almost to the point where it's oh yeah, that's normal now.
Yeah, that's just what they do.
Incest? That's not even the worst of it.
So for me, they try to make it where it was a big problem with Jon and between characters and whatnot. And maybe it could have been, but based off what I know from the books, and how based it is in real ancient nobility and aristocracy, there was a lot of incest across all the houses. It was just that the Targaryens were way, way, way worse about it than everyone else.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a thing in the books. It's why they went mad.
In real history, they would do that a lot because they wanted to keep their
and there was
blood,
problems there too,
quote unquote, pure.
But I'm saying, in the books, they go over genealogy everywhere, and there's incest all over the place. I just don't think that the problem between Jon and Dany, in character, would have been much of a problem. And I don't know how you approach that storytelling wise from a modern sensibility, because it is a problem. But I don't know.
I don't think in the realm of Game of Thrones that would have been.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I digress. Another thing too on the Dany madness thing is, by turning Dany as mad as she did at the end, we usurped the throne of the villain of the show from Cersei, who by God. Yeah. Has fucking earned it at this point.
Yeah,
she finally gets it all, right? She finally gets everything. She really is the queen, and hate her because she's the worst. And God, do you love to hate her because she really is the worst.
Such a good actress.
Yeah, such a good actress. Oh my gosh. But you don't get to take that from the audience. You don't get to give the audience this amazing villain, and then by the way, she doesn't really matter because Dany has dragons and she's crazy now.
Yeah,
that sucks. Cersei earned her throne upon the villainy tower, and she earned falling to the good guys, not being usurped by a shitty new villain, who wasn't earned for and no one wanted in the first place. So to me, that's a crime. Replacing Cersei as a main villain was a crime, shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
another thing that bugged me was Jaime betraying his entire story arc, right? Like, he goes through this entire story arc of trying to figure out what it means to be honorable and be a knight. His name's been sullied. He's the king.
Oh, I see what you're
all
saying.
This other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's true.
He slaves with his sister who manipulates him and has done so since, they were little. He finally breaks free of her. He sees the kind of man he wants to be. He comes up here to actually fight the fight and become a good person. Him and Brain of Tarth have their moment. Mm-hmm. And then after it's all over, he goes back to Cersei. Why? Like to me, it just betrays everything he worked towards. And it's like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make people root for this guy? Starting about season 3, I think, or season 2, you start to kind of root for him, and you work it up.
Yeah, I think it's season 3. That's when you're.
And then you pull the rug out from under the audience, and you just make everyone upset, because we all love Brienne, and we all learned to love Jaime because he was trying to be better. Mm-hmm. And then you made him like completely revert
and go back to his sister. Yeah, you know what? I feel like that's another thing where it was supposed to be extra season, more seasons, more time.
Right.
I feel like that was just like how you were saying what they should have done with Dany's character, where
like a little bit of back and
fake
forth.
out. Yeah, and that's so now he goes, and you're like, oh, why'd you go back to his sister? Mm-hmm. But if they had more time, if they had added an extra season at least, you know what I mean? It probably would have went back to where, and then he redeemed himself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah. But they rushed, and I think they left it at that, and that's what left that story arc to be very bad. Yeah.
The other thing too is the Night King, the battle against the Night King, how it only lasts an episode rather than being this long drawn out thing, which that should have been it. That should have actually been the entirety of season 8. Mm-hmm. Was like them enduring and barely scraping by the inner teeth and finally killing him at the end of season 8. And then, maybe we can do this like epilogue of like, they did it. They're trying to rest, and then like the looming shadow of Cersei still being at full strength is like the final thing we get at the end of season 8. We're like, fuck, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
They defeated the Night King, but now they're fucked. Instead, we don't get.
And that was totally awesome the way he got defeated too with Arya.
No,
you didn't like that? Oh, I loved that.
No, they.
Why? Okay, why did you not like it?
This is hard for me because this is where I start getting my book and my show knowledge a little bit crisscrossed. Like, I know this is in the book, and I know it's in the show too, but I know it's way more in the book. There's this entire prophecy of Azor Ahai, the prince who was promised. And like, there are a few people that Azor Ahai can be, but whoever Azor Ahai is, they are the one, the bringer of light, the bringer of the flame, the one person who can kill the Night King. And the way it's set up is, if you look for the clues, maybe it's obvious or maybe it's too obvious, but it seems like it's either Dany or it's Jon. One of these two is Azor Ahai, the one who will kill the Night King, who will save the world. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, like, it pointed to either of them so clearly that it should have been both of them together. Like, together they are Azor Ahai. That's my opinion. But you don't get to do all of this setup and be like, oh, no, it was the assassin.
And then it was...
it's like, no, what? Why? Like, you just wanted to give her someone to... No, this is... I know this for a fact. They talked about this. They were interviewed about this. Fucking Wise and Benioff. And they were asked why it was Arya. And they said, well, we sat down and we thought to ourselves, who is the last person that anyone would expect? And we went through every character and we said, you know what? Arya will surprise people the most. And I'm sorry, if you're making like completely narrative like linchpins on the idea of surprise.
Because this was already in the book. Who kills the Night King and all that?
The Azor Ahai thing?
Yeah.
It's in both.
I know, but I mean like because like you were saying, I thought you said, maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said they said in the book that, or in the book it's written that someone else kills him. No?
No.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Do you understand what I'm saying when I talk about Azor Ahai, the prince?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the one, the prophecy of,
and
like,
all of like the prophecy points, which I don't remember off the top of my head. They point to a few characters, but most prominently, like the people who fit the prophecy the most are
either
Dany or Jon. And like, in my opinion, it should be both of them together. I mean, the entire show like culminates.
Oh, so what you're saying is because it points to those two people, it should have been those two people to kill him.
Well, no, it should, like, I'm saying it should have been one or another or somebody else who it fit. But my personal opinion is it shouldn't have been one or the other. It should have been both of them together because the whole show culminates in the fact that they come together. But anyways, my other point here is that the producers admitted on open air in interview that their meeting about who should kill the Night King came down to who would surprise people the most.
Oh, really?
And when you're making narrative decisions of that gravity that are like the linchpin of your magnum opus based off surprise over everything else, then you've completely lost the fucking plot. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. You have no idea what narrative is.
I see what you're saying.
Like,
They definitely broke the rule of
that
if
being
this is
said,
going through that
love
storyline.
Arya. But Arya should have had an entire other story arc of like dealing with the fact that she is a murderous psychopath and maybe she needs to figure herself out.
Yeah.
And
I did like that though. I did actually really like that scene and
yeah, it looks cool.
And I didn't have a problem with it story-wise, probably because I didn't really pick up a lot on the how'd you say it? The Azor Ahai. It's probably because I didn't
throw the Azor Ahai stuff in your face.
Yeah.
Like what's her name? The red woman. She never shuts up about it. It's all she talks about. But anyways, another thing too is like this isn't like a hard rule, but a lot of times when you have your villain and protagonist, there is a mirroring of the two. There is like themes that clash in opposite of each other, and then they come to a head when the antagonist and protagonist meet. Like Arya has nothing with the Night King. There's no connection.
Yeah, that is true.
There's no clashing of themes or motives. Like they have no connection.
Didn't they try to make a connection like that with Brand and the Night King?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you're
but
right.
Anyways, I don't even want to talk about Bran on this episode because that stuff is so bad. Like I have
that's going to be another episode.
Keeping track of all this. Where was I? Yeah, so he dies in my opinion a stupid way that breaks the narrative. The whole the fight, like the way that the Unsullied and the oh my gosh, what are they called? The
Dothraki?
Dothraki. The way the Dothraki go out, like they're hyped up as all hell to be the greatest warriors, basically. Like no one can stand against them if they're on their horses, and they just get fucking annihilated. Like what's her name? The Red Woman does this dope ass shit to their swords, and you're like, shit, they're gonna be able to do something.
A little
Instead,
bit more
it does nothing.
Yeah.
Which I get what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do in that scene is show you how overwhelming the odds are against them, and that's fine. You can do that, but like. Maybe
show a little bit of.
Maybe don't do that by also like setting up like this whole idea of what's her name? Melisandre is her name. Missandei is.
Oh, Missandei is
Melisandre. Don't hype this up about her coming up here is going to make a big fucking difference, and then show like, oh no, her power is stupid and no one cares.
Yeah.
Like that's shit. That's shit storytelling.
Yeah, especially after she gives birth to some shadow. Whatever that thing.
Scene. That's
I know it is horrifying,
scene.
but you see something like that and you do think that she's going to be more powerful than what it shows at that point in time.
Like the entirety of season 8 is made up of these two guys thinking that like going the opposite direction of what the narrative like has set up is surprising and clever, and it's because they don't even understand the twists of the narrative that Martin set up in the first place. The way the red wedding goes down and the purple wedding. The way all the different twists. The way like Ned dies in season 1. The way all those twists happen is they're unexpected because of a trick of narrative where you thought certain people were main characters, but actually, if you look, it was all just set up for other people. But these two seem to fail to understand that like twists like that still require payoff. That's the thing. They give you the twist, there's no real payoff. They give you the twist, there's no real payoff. Like, that's not satisfactory storytelling. And, like,
if you're going to have the twist, you do need the payoff.
The audience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So they failed there. I only got 2 more things that I want to even say before we start talking about, I guess, what we do differently. I don't know. Now I'm just mad.
Yeah.
But, the entire show, they talk about how the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives, right? That's the Stark thing. And that is their thing. They get split up, and they all start getting fucking picked off, and their lives are horrible. Arya becomes a psychopath. Sansa fucking gets tortured, and she gets raped. I hated that scene. That scene sucked.
I know.
Terrible things happen to her. John is on this path of, like, zombies are taking over the world, and no one believes me at first until
he becomes one.
Basically. All the other Starks die, and you finally get them all back together, and then after everything is over, what do? They go in all different directions again. Yeah. The entire point is, like, they should have learned. The pack survives. Yeah. It's like, Arya goes west or whatever, and Sansa stays in Winterfell like a smart star. Yeah. And then Jon exiles himself, which based off the way everything goes, I understand, but like, I just wish the Starks had stayed together because that's what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing. The stupid council meeting at the end where they just try and wrap it up by saying, hey, democracy's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they vote for Bran to be king. Just because...
Yeah, right. I thought, okay, if you don't mind me saying, okay,
yeah,
let me jump into the part of what we would do differently because I feel like I don't have as much to say as you do about this, but I do have basically three main things of how I would redo Game of Thrones, and they're broad strokes.
Okay.
I don't go into detail on these,
sure.
But except for one thing, what you just mentioned right now, that was the one thing that bothered me the most was how at the end when they had this quote unquote council meeting and they're all together and the way that they acted with each other after they went through that whole epic shit show of their entire lives, you know what I mean? And they basically were like, yeah, maybe we should vote for our next king. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I get it. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I guess, like you pointed out to me earlier, like the idea of democracy maybe wasn't there yet, but it seemed the way that they handled what this idea came from, it seemed more like they could have just done this from the beginning. You know what I mean? They didn't have to do this. Everything that happened.
I understand what you're saying. But I think like with the council, it was almost like no one wants this fucking throne anymore.
Yeah, right.
Or like no one can agree on anybody.
Because at one point in time, each one of them did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like no one's going to be happy with it, so we might as well leave it to a plurality vote.
Yeah.
It's kind of weak sauce, but there's two things that bug me way more than that.
Well, real quick, let me get my other two though, just because they're not. The other thing would be yes, the Daenerys storyline. Mm-hmm. I would extend the seasons at least by 2, not 1, at least by 2, so that you can fully get into that finish of that story arc. That would be my second thing I would change, and then the third thing I would change, and this is kind of small, but I kind of felt the the climax of the battle between the Mountain and the Hound was a little lackluster, and I hated the fact that they didn't use the Mountain as much as I thought that they should have been using him in certain scenes prior, and I would definitely change that.
It's just because there's so many characters, right? It's a sprawling epic. That's how epic fantasies are, and Game of Thrones is actually, or I should say, Song of Ice and Fire is more complex than even most are. And I think without the narrative guideline of Martin's actual stories, it was way too difficult for them to keep track. And I think that's why stuff like that happened. Back to this final fucking council meeting. One of the things that really bugged me about it was Bran goes through this whole story of becoming the Three-Eyed Raven. He's supposed to become detached from the material world. He doesn't serve the purposes of people anymore. He's doing what's best for I don't know, the planet. I'm not sure. They don't really explain, which is another problem I have with this shit. But you get this idea that he's completely detached from the material. And then when him and Tyrion have this one conversation about how he's set up to be king, and then Bran turns and looks at him, he's like, why do you think I'm here? It's like, what? What do you mean? Now you're making political moves? What is this? God! And then, I know this is me being nitpicky, or this seems like a smaller detail, the fact that they're he'll be Bran the Broken. Fucking stupid. Yeah. No one's going to respect this stupid king name that just came over.
Bran the Broken.
This show is bad.
I felt like they did that to him they were you call someone oh, it's going to be Joe the asshole.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're giving him
They're basically Bran the fucking useless. Can't walk for himself, Bran.
Wait, was it not... Okay, you mentioned a line that he says, but in my head, I thought when they said that, doesn't he act a little surprised that they chose him? Because...
he shouldn't be.
That was my whole point, because I remember that when I was like, wait a minute, why is he acting like that when he should have already foresaw that?
He literally told Tyrion that's why he was here.
Is that right? I thought that was
stupid.
Weird.
Okay, now I'm done bitching about Game of Thrones. How would I fix it? It would definitely be 2 more seasons, not 1 more, and certainly not a shortened one. I would definitely come up with my ideas for how it ends before, and this is another thing, is I feel like they were just throwing the track down in front of the train. I feel like they should have sat down and be like, okay, where does this end? And then once they crafted their ending, how do we guide everyone to where they need to go in a way that makes sense? I think that's what they should have done. So I would have decided, I would have gone with the Night King dies at the end of season 8. but season 8 is going to be 10 episodes at least, and it's going to be nothing but the Battle of Winterfell. And the plotting that goes on around that and stuff, and maybe the rise of Cersei's power. Because that's another thing is, like, they try to make Cersei seem, you know, like she built up all her forces and shit, but, like, we basically saw none of it. Suddenly she has extra forces now.
I didn't. You're right. I didn't notice
building that up. So we knew exactly how fucked everyone was after they defeated the Night King. I would have had to make the decision: who is Azor Ahai? Who's killing the Night King? And me personally, I'm going with some sort of weird blend. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily Jon or if it's necessarily Dany, if it's necessarily both of them together, but I'm going to have them. It's going to be them involved in some way. Like, some people thought that Jon was going to have to plunge his sword into Daenerys' heart. And then it was, because that's the whole idea of, I think they call the sword Lightbringer. I don't remember the details that clearly, but, like, that's what Azor Ahai did in the prophecy. Like, he plunges his sword, he quenches it in his wife's heart, and it's the only thing that will fucking kill the Night King. So, like, there's this whole theory that maybe Jon was going to have to do that. I don't know if I would have gone with that, but I might have done some weird play on that. I'm not sure. Like, maybe Dany does it with Jon, or maybe, I don't know. I would have come up with some sort of really thematic way where it was both of them, and yet neither of them at the same time. I'm trying to make all this up on the fly, so, like, obviously this is all very vague.
Well, I do feel like, I think there's an agreement. There definitely had to have been more time, more seasons, for sure.
Yeah. I think Jon dies at the end, in my version, because I think Daenerys is queen at the end, and I think she has Jon's child at the end, and I don't think we even pursue whether it's a problem or not, because it's a fucking Game of Thrones and there's a bunch of other things to cover. But I think Jon wants to die. Like, he wants to die. Ever since he was revived, he doesn't want to be alive anymore. And Daenerys does give him a reason to live again, which is another reason why it kind of sucks the way it goes down. Is, like, despite everything, like, she did make him feel alive again and, like, make him smile again when, like, basically he was, like, glum sad man. Yeah,
that is true.
And, like, he basically was on a slow suicide.
He came back as emo style.
Yeah, exactly. And I think having him give his life, whether it's in season 8 or in season 9, like, Jon doesn't get to be king. He gets to die, and that's okay, because it's what he wanted. He was supposed to be dead in the first place. Now that the Night King's gone, he has served his purpose. That's the only reason he was able to come back to life in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is something they set up thematically and then failed to deliver on. I think Dany has this thing where it seems like she might go mad because of all the grief and how everything's going wrong, but I think she sucks it up, stands tall, and she overcomes it, just like she's overcome everything up to that point.
Yeah,
like,
she has. That's true.
Like, she's a complicated character, and she's not perfect. She's very flawed, but she is inspirational, and you can be both. And I think it's important to remember that. Is, like, you can be flawed, and you can have moments of being a hypocrite in your narrative, but you can overcome and be a better person, and you can still be inspirational. And I think that would have served the story better if that would have been Daenerys' arc.
Yeah, and I think they probably could have done that if we did have that extra time.
I think we work in Bran's Three-Eyed Raven thing to make it all work, but I don't think he ends up no fucking king.
Yeah, because they kind of just dropped that, like, with all, you know what I mean? It's just, at the end, it was nothing else about it.
Sansa making the North independent, the way it happened, sucked because, like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, you get to be independent. Why? Because your brother's the king. That's shitty. Instead, maybe we could have had a thing, because remember, Daenerys and Sansa didn't like each other? Maybe it could have been a thing where, like, there needed to be an agreement made between them, and Daenerys and Sansa come to an agreement. Like, we're going to fucking do this together because the goddamn Night King's here, but also, like, if we're going to be allies, we need to be allies, and that means when you're queen, the North is free. And they could have made that deal beforehand. Yeah. There could have been a whole setup there. That would have been cool. And then Arya's whole thing should have really come to a final fruition when it came down to Cersei. And I think Arya's the one who should have killed Cersei. Cersei was majorly on her list.
That would, I thought that would have been cool. You know what I mean? Especially with all this thing about Arya going through this, what were they called? The Faceless Men or something?
Yeah. That's another thing is, like, weren't the Faceless Men after she left? She would have needed to face, like, him in the end, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember if they were, like, after her, but I did feel like, I don't know. I felt like there should have been more on that about her, like, about her learning that stuff. And you're right. She should have been the one to kill Cersei in that fashion. That would have been so cool, you know?
I think they tried to go with a thing where the Hound was like, no, don't do it. You're better than that. And that's kind of cool. And maybe we could have made that work too. But, like, Arya killing the Night King and then failing to do anything else afterwards is a shitty ending for Arya's story, if you ask me. I think in the end, Jon dies. Bran, Sansa, and Arya all do end up back at Winterfell, but in a capacity that they are happy with and that works for them. Like, Arya is not going to be some lady. She never is. But guess what she's probably going to be? The best goddamn bodyguard and swordsman in fucking Winterfell. She might just become the goddamn swordmaster and teach everyone how to fucking do their job.
I was just about to say, you remember how at the beginning, the person she learned swordplay from, you know, she would become that for that. Yeah, you know, that's
you know, and Sansa's queen of the north, and Bran is probably like the wise man, the sage, like the almost like the what are they called? Were they Meisters? Was that what they were called?
Oh, the Maesters?
The Maesters. Yeah. Maybe not the Maester because that's like a different religious thing, but
he would be.
He could have served like a really great purpose at Winterfell as the fucking three-eyed raven, or maybe make him go back north above the wall,
kind of like an oracle or something.
Yeah, like an oracle or something. Like I feel like there could have been like the Starks together. Look how fucking strong they are because the pack survives. Which would have been with theme. You would have seen Ned smiling from heaven, like
man, I know
my kids. You know, not all of them. A lot of them died. But these ones, they got it.
Ned smiling from heaven, but only his head.
But only his head, of course. Ned's head. Jaime. I guess we can tackle that. I think. You know what? Maybe Arya doesn't kill Cersei. I think Jaime.
Oh, Jaime. Yeah. That would have been interesting.
I think when Jaime decides to go back, you get this idea of, well, either he's going to go there to be with her or he's going to go there to kill her. And I think he should have gone there to kill her. Because...
And through the ruse of getting back with her.
Because in this version that I've created, like, Cersei is almost definitely going to win. At least at the beginning of the season. It just looks like there's no hope.
Yeah.
And so Jaime's like, you know what? I'm the only person that she'll let close to her. And maybe he
through the ruse of like getting back with her. That's what he could have done,
and
you know.
His story has this weird going a full circle. He starts off as the Kingslayer, he ends as the Queenslayer. And he did both for a good reason, and maybe everyone hates him for it, but like he did it because he really is that knight who does what's right.
And forever to be known as the Slayer of King and Queens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, and the thing is, like, he didn't need the approval of anyone else anymore because, like, the whole thing about Jaime was that he wanted to write his own story.
Yeah.
And, like, those are the main beats. I'm sure there's many stuff that I'm forgetting, stuff that bugged people that they're like, oh, why aren't they talking about this?
Yeah, but there's way too much. But you know what, though? Hopefully the powers that be will be listening to this podcast because I hear that there's actually a petition to redo the last season of Game of Thrones.
That would be incredible. Can you imagine?
I know.
That would be a phenomenon again.
Dude, could you imagine? That's what I'm saying. Like, if this petition really gone through and they decided to really remake it and maybe add a couple more seasons to it and they could have finished that would have been awesome.
If they do it, they need to do it now before it's too late, before everyone starts getting too old and it just becomes too jarring.
Exactly, to see them what they look like now.
So that's all I got. I hope what I said was helpful. I know I ranted in anger for most of this episode, but like, you know.
Hey, we are the two foremost authorities on this.
Apparently. So what first facts you got for us today?
You know what? I just wanted to go through a few of them. I thought they were kind of interesting. So the actor that plays Joffrey, who I thought played his character phenomenally. I mean, he was next to Bolton Ramsay. He was the most hated character. I hated Joffrey with every ounce of my soul.
Joffrey and Cersei definitely, and all three, man.
Yeah, but
killed it.
But even with them, like there was a part where when Cersei was getting shitted on, basically by that religious.
Cersei
cult.
was more nuanced, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There was parts of her story where you could empathize or sympathize.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no sympathy for Joffrey.
None. Yeah. Like Joffrey was the one I really like. If I could, I wanted to try to kill him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, you know what I mean? Because like Cersei, you know, especially when what were they called? The birds, the sun, what were they called? The birds of sun or something like that. The sunlight, that religious cult,
the crazy religious people.
Yeah, the crazy religious people. When they were getting the upper hand on her, right? I was like, no. I was like, Cersei's the big bad on this one. I was like rooting for Cersei.
I mean, I don't know if I was rooting for Cersei, but like, I liked where the story was going. Yeah. I was like, Cersei's being humbled, and when she gets through this, she's gonna be the most dangerous fucker alive.
Yeah, and when she had to do the walk of shame,
enjoying it, and like, but I did feel bad for her, but also I was like, she also kind of deserves this, but also fuck these people.
Yeah,
like, this is gonna break bad for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say like I felt bad for her because of all the shit that she does, but I was like, you better get back at them, Cersei. You better show them that you're the big bad.
And that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Like she earned it. Like there's a part of, I think, most of the audience members that were like, no, she's the villain. Like she needs to succeed so that the protagonist can take her down in the end.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So the actor, though, his name is Jack Gleeson, and he did such a phenomenal job that he actually had kind of dangerous things happen to him in public where people really, they really went nuts. They could not separate him from the character. And and they would like threaten him or say things to him and everything in public, right? Yeah. And it was because of that, R. Martin actually wrote him a congratulatory letter. Says, congratulations on your marvelous performance. Everybody hates you now. Yeah. And because of this, though, unfortunately, Jack Gleeson decided to quit acting. So far as right now, he hasn't picked up acting again. So he only quit at 21 years old, but he stopped at a phenomenal. I mean, look what he achieved with this character.
Like I doubt he won an Emmy. I doubt that he won an Emmy, but. God damn, did he deserve one?
I know.
His acting was phenomenal.
It's just because you hate the person, but that just goes to show you. Like
so well done.
He's actually
you really fucking believe it.
Yeah, he's actually spends his time helping people now. He's actually a huge humanitarian.
Right.
So he's nothing like Joffrey. You know what I mean?
Maybe acting as Joffrey really pushed him in the other direction.
Maybe.
I would imagine it would.
Or it goes to show just how good of an actor he really is. Like or you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like he's such a good person, but like in the show, it's like,
Well, here's, this is not exactly related, but, in Super Quest Saga, Brian, for a while, played a character named Carter. Who was a complete evil piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And Brian, by the halfway through the show, he's like, I'm really tired of playing this guy because getting into his head and acting like him is not good for my mental health.
Yeah.
And I could see that being the case with Jack Gleeson. Like, I really do play him, but, like, it's not good for me.
Yeah. The other fact I have here is that a few of the scenes are actually based on real historical events. And one of them that we talked about, or actually one thing we left out. So the Red Wedding, that was actually based on two events from Scottish history, the 1691 Massacre of Glencoe and the 1440 Black Dinner.
Interesting.
The other one that I was going to mention, though, that was actually really happened and we mentioned was that walk of shame that Cersei had to take nude through the entire city while everyone's shame and they're spitting on everything. That actually was so it was something to do with a king back in England. Back in the day they actually had one of the I think it was like one of his mistresses. Once the king died, the mistress had to walk through the city as a punishment. So yeah, I was just like, man, I can't believe that something like that really happened.
Well, I mean, I do, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. But also, and I actually really like this fact. So Sophie Turner, the actress that plays Sansa, she actually adopted her direwolf.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was so cool. Yeah. Like Sansa adopted one, and she names it Lady. In the show, but it's a Northern Inuit dog, and in real life she actually adopted the dog. She said she always wanted it, and she convinced the people who brought this dog onto the show that she convinced them if she could have it, and she named the dog Zuni, Zunni. But I was like, man, that's so awesome. Those dogs are so cool. I love them.
Yeah, that's a little known fact is due to Game of Thrones, the breeding and purchasing of huskies went through the fucking roof,
I could imagine that.
In the end led to a lot of huskies in pounds because huskies are an incredibly difficult breed to manage. Yeah. I've managed one. It's delightful, but it's hard work.
You have to, exactly.
And you need to be able to exercise them and all that other stuff. And people just wanted a pretty pet and they didn't realize what they were getting into. So,
real quick, did you have a favorite character in Game of Thrones?
Ooh,
because I totally know mine.
Jon Snow because I did love his entire story arc. Was there anyone else in particular that really stood out to me? Like Davos was great. Jamie, I like Jamie a lot too.
Mine, Tyrion. I loved Tyrion, and I feel like he stole the show on a couple of occasions. I didn't even talk
about like the crime they committed against Tyrion's character because he just became a sad, useless man at the end, and that sucks.
I know because he was
brilliant and we went through this arc. Sorry, we're back at it again, guys. So the episode's not over. We went through this arc of Tyrion being extremely talented and clever, but looked down upon. to once he got some power, he was actually really good and effective at it, but the people turned it against him, and he has to flee, and then he ends up in like his darkest moment, right? And all is lost until Dany hires him, and you think he's going to be on this upward trajectory, and then he's just kind of all over the place, and then he just kind of fucks up like big time 3 times, and then he becomes a nobody.
Yeah, I thought that was sad. I didn't like that, but he was still my favorite
phenomenal.
character.
Yeah, he makes my top 5 for sure.
Dude, could you imagine?
Breaking news, a new study suggests leaving an iTunes review is very important for newly created podcasts. So to nurture your new favorite podcast, make sure to leave an iTunes review. This has been Fritz Frivolous, reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe. Will and Tom, back to you. Captain's Log, Stardate 47634.44. Living on a starship has been better than I could have imagined. Excitement and adventure around every corner, satisfying my curiosity and quenching my thirst for knowledge. It has truly been a dream come true. I guess the only unknown left to ponder upon is, what would it be like to live in a different universe? To boldly live where only fictional characters live?
Captain Frivolous?
Yes, go ahead.
Should we set course to Risa?
Yes, Ensign. Set a course at Warp 9. Engage.
And we're back.
Indeed.
So, I had somebody mention once, they kind of alluded to this question. I kind of fixed it up though, but basically the question is, what if you can pick to live in any fictional universe? Which universe and who or what would you be?
Oh, the who and what would you be throws me off, actually. I already know my answer to this. So I'm going to try and come up with 3.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go in order of like 3, 2, 1. I'm going to leave my
you're going to leave the best
one.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So number 3, for me personally, is Star Trek. I think that's a great universe to live in. Is that one of yours?
Oh my, okay. Yeah, that's my first. That's my first one. Yeah, that's my first one.
I
Yeah.
didn't know.
That's my top number 1. Yeah.
All right, then you know what? You go ahead. Tell people why you would choose Star Trek.
Oh my, why? Why would you not live in the universe of Star Trek? Oh, specifically Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay, that's fine.
Because of the fact that, man, by that point in time in on planet Earth, right? You have technology. Like, I think the biggest piece of technology, the most important piece of technology during that time, other than warp speed, the traveling at warp, is the replicators.
Oh yeah.
Because that solves starvation, that solves resource problems, that solves everything. And now the world economy, the world's all together. There technically really isn't a quote unquote economy anymore, because like you don't need it. You don't need money now. Now on planet Earth, you can pursue anything that you want to do. And the people who do them, they do them because that's what they're passionate about.
Right.
That's what they really want to do.
Yeah.
You have access to all kinds of education. You have access to transportation anywhere you want to go. And I'm not just talking about on planet Earth. Now you can explore space.
Indeed.
And I probably would join Starfleet. I would love joining Starfleet. Why not? You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Yes, I know it can be dangerous for obvious reasons.
Right.
But man, I mean, you have everything at your fingertips. You know what I mean?
The world's your oyster. Right?
Information, right? Nourishment, entertainment. I mean, the need of exploration. You already know how curious I am about everything. Yeah. That's how I would be in this universe.
So I don't know if I join Starfleet. Not because I wouldn't want to, but because like in this world, like it's the one like super dangerous thing still left that can be done. And I'm the man, you know this, I'm the man of a million hobbies. Like this is a universe where I can sleep because I do have enough time.
Yeah.
Like I can do all my hobbies. I can learn all my things. I can play all my music. I can explore all my storytelling and all the other things I like to do. I've been the best goddamn fitness you've ever seen me in your life. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it comes down to the replicators. It comes down to the being able to pursue one's endeavors. And I think, at least as far as I've been exposed to the world of Star Trek, it doesn't seem like those who choose not to do much, to just enjoy their lives, they don't seem to be looked down on, which I think is important, because that would be shitty. Like, you know what? Like, we live in a utopia. Like, if I want to kick back and enjoy the utopia, that should be okay.
Yeah, that is true, and that's how it is.
What's the point of a fucking utopia if I can't goddamn enjoy it?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Star Trek is a strong choice. And you said it was your number one. I think it's a great number one.
Oh, it would be definitely my number one. And
I'm so sorry I took your number one.
Oh, no. No, that's fine. You know what? Let me change something here. Okay. I did say I would join Starfleet, and there was actually a good chance that I would. But, when I really think about it, specifically, realistically, if I'm in this universe and I am how I am now, you know what? I probably would be doing like what you said, pursuing all my hobbies. And that would include going to some of these different planets that the Federation, that have joined the Federation.
Yeah.
And I would be so curious on what everyone's foods taste like.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I would go eat a Klingon meal. You know what I mean?
Klingon meals, but
have you seen...
gross?
You know what's so funny? If any of you guys, any listeners out there watch Star Trek The Next Generation, they do have a couple episodes where they show what Klingons eat.
Yeah.
And it does I know that they were supposed to look gross. They have like these crawling worms and these blood, I think, what do they call them? Like these blood routes, or I forget what they call them. But like, honestly, I thought it looked so delicious. There's a part where Worf is in 10 forward, right? And he's having a full meal that's like everything Klingon. And I wanted to eat everything he was eating. That scene makes me so hungry.
Yeah.
And he's teaching Riker. Riker comes and eats because they're going to do like an exchange program, right? Mm-hmm. And Riker comes down and he starts eating everything too, right? And I just sat there like, I wish I could be at some buffet that had all of these foods, and I would eat all of them.
So you would try to be the Guy Fieri of the galaxy.
Probably, travel from planet to planet.
No, that's super cool, and I would definitely be interested in doing something like that to a certain degree too. You know what the best Star Trek movie ever made was?
Which one?
Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
I fucking love that movie. But anyways, I guess we'll move on to my number 2.
Okay.
Hopefully this doesn't take one of yours as well. It's going to be Middle Earth, but it has to be, it's got to be real specific. So it's got to be the Shire for me. And the Shire, either after or before, like, all the bullshit happens.
Oh, I was going to ask you, is this pre...
Like, you got to remember, the Shire was peaceful for 99% of its existence until, like, the movies happened. So it's just so idyllic, and it's beautiful, and like they eat good food, and they're a peaceful people, and it's just so cozy, and it's like, I just want a vacation there forever. Like, just give me a little hobbit house and I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of people who have built those, and oh my god, I want to rent one and live there.
It just looks so inviting. The food, the nature, the environment, the culture, I would soak it all in. Yes,
you're right.
please.
You're right about the food too, because especially how they have breakfast, second breakfast, tea.
This is definitely the world where I become a round little hobbit.
Your fitness would be out the window.
No fitness in the Shire. Nope.
There's no 24-hour Shire fitness club.
No, there's not at all. That, or I might go the other way with it and like I would chill at Rivendell. Like, I'll chill at Rivendell for a few days. Hopefully, it's before everyone has to leave. So
that would be free.
Cool. I'm going with somewhere between the Fall of Sauron the first time and the Fall of Sauron the second time.
Yeah, because the thing is like afterwards, Middle Earth pretty much has changed so much after, and you don't have like the Rivendell
world. I'm like, nah, let me enjoy Rivendell.
But after the first time Sauron gets defeated, you have I think they said 250,000 years of like.
No, not that long.
It's not. What is it?
5,000 years.
Or 5,000 years, or maybe it was 5,000. years. I was just rewatching
Elrond's
the movie.
Not a 250,000 years old. No.
Hey, you never know.
I think he's like.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right. Yeah, I think it was like 5,000 years, and then the stories were lost. They say.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's a good one.
Rivendell would be good, but the Shire calls.
Oh
me,
wait,
man.
the
Shire, like I feel it in my bones. Like I need to go to there.
So in Star Trek, in the Star Trek universe, we forgot to say who would we be?
I said I didn't say, but just a citizen on Earth. Probably.
Citizen, and that would be like the Guy Fieri.
The Guy Fieri of the galaxy.
Of the galaxy. And then so if you're in the Shire, who would you be? Would you be a Hobbit?
If I do, I get to be a hobbit. They live a long time. Fuck yes, I'll be a hobbit and live 120 years in comfort in the Shire.
Or would you, or could you be an elf and live in the Shire? Or
the elf thing, that's tempting because then I get that immortality that I can give up if I don't want it no more, and that's tempting.
Mm-hmm.
That's tempting.
See, I would have, if I was in that universe, I would have to be a wizard. Like Gandalf, if you could be that.
I mean,
well, he's not like, I know,
yeah. We had a discussion about Gandalf and how he's not really a wizard.
Yeah, but well, then I guess if I couldn't, I would be an elf.
Yeah,
I do like, because I love archery
it's
too.
It's hard not to be an elf, but man, you know what? I'm going with Hobbit though. The Shire calls to me, man. I want to live that Hobbiton life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going.
The big old hairy feet.
I'm gonna be a Baggins, and I'm gonna live at Bag End. That's
Bag End. Would you smoke your halfling leaf?
Oh yes, you fucking know it. Absolutely.
Know, right? Oh man.
Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, that's my number 2. Did you want to give your number 2?
My number 2 would be in the universe of Harry Potter. And I think it's going to be
bad choice.
A parent of why. Why would you say it's a bad choice?
You tell me why. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. I'm kidding.
Well, it's one word.
Yeah,
magic.
Ahead. Yeah, magic's
like,
great.
I would. Yeah. Oh wait, but I guess I should be specific. Mm-hmm. This is after Voldemort.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to have to like all of a sudden get into this huge war with.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be another dark wizard, but
maybe.
Okay, so I get it, magic. I imagine you're not going to be a muggle. You're going to be a wizard.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. We all were waiting for a letter from Hogwarts. Like,
I know, right?
Like, there was a part of me that when I hit 11 years old, I think it was, because he's 11 when he gets the letter.
I forgot that you're... I forgot our age difference.
Yeah, there's age difference. So, like, when I hit 11 and I didn't get a letter, I was... even though I knew it was,
you were so disappointed,
but I was crestfallen inside. I was like, it isn't real.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But
you wanted someone to burst in and be like, "You're a wizard, Will."
I wanted that goddamn letter to come down my chimney. Damn it.
Yeah.
Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So the thing about Harry Potter, and I think it's way more abundantly clear if you read the books than watch the movies. It's really fucking dangerous for pretty much everybody at all times. Terrible things are happening to everybody all the time. And the only reason people survive it is because then they get magic to undo it. And like,
a
lot of body horror stuff is happening to people pretty much on the daily. Like it's a horror show at Hogwarts, let me tell you right now. Like broken bones and transformations and eating the nastiest shit that fucks you up for days. Like, there's people can charm you, take control of your mind. Like, this shit happens.
Even after all that you say, I'm still like, but I want magic. I was like, I would still go.
I feel you. I'm just saying that's a dangerous choice.
Yeah. It might be.
When's the next dark wizard gonna rise? And the whole government gets taken over by the freaking Death Eaters, dude. Like, that happened. It could happen again. Like,
yeah, you know that's true. If he's not truly gone, or if someone else takes his place as the next Dark Wizard. Right. I did want to mention this real quick because me and my wife are both Harry Potter fans, and for her birthday we got replicas of wands. She wanted Voldemort's wand, right?
Okay.
So I think it was on Christmas. Yeah. I got her that replica wand, and I wrapped it, and I wrote this letter. I stained and burned the paper so it looked like old parchment.
Nice.
And I got a quill pen. And I wrote it in the fanciest
that's badass.
of things, dude. And I made it look as real as possible. Mm-hmm. And when she got to that present, I turned on the Hogwarts theme, or the Harry Potter theme song. As soon as I did it, as soon as she was opening it up, and she was just like, "What's going on?" And she opened up the letters, like, "Oh, you got it."
That's a really good gift. Holy shit.
Dude, it was fun actually making it.
I'm sure it was. Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. Anything else you want to add to the Harry Potter universe? Why you'd want to live there? Something you want to do?
You know what? Okay. Oh yeah. Who I would be in there? I think I would definitely be someone. Probably someone that was like. Wow, now I can't remember his name. The guy with the creatures.
You're talking about the guy from the not prequel. Well, I guess prequels.
Yeah, the prequels.
Fantastic Beasts guy, Newt Scamander.
Yeah, Newt Scamander. Yeah, I would be somewhat with that because I really liked all the different types of animals that were in there. Dragons and stuff like that. Yeah, so I would definitely be someone that would use my magic probably to. run some type of like an animal preserve, something like that. You know what I mean? Where I can take care of a lot of animals,
You'd
learn
like
about
Hagrid.
them. Yeah, kind of like, I would be
you'd
like
be a lot
but
like
more
Hagrid.
on the wizard side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Hagrid got expelled, so he didn't get to finish his
Exactly,
wizarding school. But okay, I can see that. Do you want me to give my number 1 before you give your number 3, or do you want to go 3
Oh,
first?
let me go. I'll go my number 3
Okay.
first. My number 3 would be the Marvel Universe.
Oh, God, that's even worse.
I thought you were going to say that was your number
That's
1.
way worse. Like, God.
I know.
Okay.
I already thought about this. I know why you were saying it's worse. Are you saying it's worse because of
It doesn't matter who you are, it's worse.
the bad stuff that happens in the cities and
Yes.
stuff? I
People
know.
dying by the
I
thousands.
understand this.
Like multiple times a year.
I would be one of those people, and I don't know if I would be necessarily living in these cities. I might even just be the tourist, right? That you see taking pictures of like, babe, I'll tell my wife like, babe, we got to go by the Baxter Building, like just in case if Reed Richards comes out or something, or babe, we got to go, let's go to the Bronx or Queens. Maybe Spider-Man will swing by. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people that I could not help myself, and I understand that the dangers of that will be. One of these days, one of my travels, and I'm going to go to try to take a picture of one of these heroes, that I will be caught in the middle of a battle, and there'll be a crushing building that I'm going to, if Spider-Man isn't there to swing me to safety, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to die, you know?
All right. You got to understand, too, because if you're mentioning Reed Richards, who this isn't the MCU. This is Marvel Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Here. The Marvel Universe not only experiences like all these, like all the things you just mentioned, but it faces basically universe-shattering events like yearly. The universe has been made, unmade, destroyed, undestroyed over and over and over again. You don't have to deal with that. You're gonna have to deal with the fact that there's like the spirit of vengeance is real, and he rides a fucking motorcycle and like kills people. Like that's a thing. It's real. Like there are gods who come down and just fuck shit up for no reason. Like Galactus eats planets, and he might come back again. And then if you're a hero, like cool, but like you also gotta deal with this.
I
shit
didn't mention
every
who I would be.
fucking day. Right. I'm sure you'd be a hero
if I could.
Would
but
you be a mutant? You'd be a mutant, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I feel like I would be some type of a mutant because I got to deal with the prejudiced people. The FOH, Friends of Humanity, would probably be, boo, get out of here, you mutie. You know what I mean? And I have to I'll just have to,
sounds exhausting.
Burn them with my fire that comes out of my hands. You know?
So you'd be a villain.
No. I wouldn't. If I could be, and I do understand the perils I would have to face, but I probably would be. But let's say if I couldn't be the hero, I just have to be who I am. I would, but I would probably be someone. I would kind of probably do what I'm doing now. I would probably try to make like YouTube videos, try to get interviews with some superheroes, even the D-list, quote unquote D-list superheroes. And do podcasts like this. I'll be like, so today, welcome back everyone. I'm Tom Case. Today, I actually met Spider-Man, and he, you know what I mean, or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, there'd be podcasts.
They're probably
all about it. I mean, I think it's a choice that a lot of people would make, and I think you knew the detriment to choosing it, and you chose it anyway. So I respect that.
Yeah.
So my number 1, the one I think is objectively the greatest answer.
I know what your number 1 is.
Pokemon, man.
I knew it.
It is the perfect blend between adventure and magic, while also being very safe. They're being free healthcare, and like, I don't know, it's just fucking awesome. Like, I get to raise elemental animals, which is fucking cool, even though they're not really animals, they're more like spirits. We had an episode about that. Go see episode 3. But
Pika-goo-goo-goo-choo.
like at 10 years old, they give you a badass elemental spirit who's going to be your best friend in the world, so long as like you're a good person and don't treat it like shit. And then tell you, hey, the world's so safe. You go on an adventure, 10-year-old. Like, leave your parents behind. Everything's gonna be okay. This is all a regulated thing. Go have a fucking adventure and explore the world. You're gonna like raise Pokemon. Battle them against each other, learn about the world, explore, eat good food, all that other stuff, and it's all going to be safe because this is a safe universe where no one ever dies. It's fucking fantastic. Oh, by the way, like the wildlife, like Pokemon is like a utopian society where like the cities are like glistening spires of
I always like
that and steel and like technology's at its highest. But if you're not in the city, it goes immediately to sprawling wildernesses that are gorgeous, like cliffs and hills and forests and all that other stuff. So it's like, I don't know. Like, why would you want to live anywhere else? Give me a Bulbasaur.
I could already guess, like, so you would be a Pokemon trainer.
Yes,
if you were
absolutely.
Yeah,
like, I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer when I was 8.
Okay, well,
like,
let me just ask you this then.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you could not be that? What else is there in that universe that you would be?
So that depends. Like, so much of the world of Pokemon's entire like economy revolves around Pokemon. So if I could still work with Pokemon, I don't know. I might be a breeder. I'd be a Pokemon Ranger. That's what I'd be.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you'd be a professor.
No.
Oh, really?
No. I mean, that'd be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, maybe I'd be a Ranger that eventually becomes a professor.
Oh, really?
Professor, but the Rangers are great. Like, they have a Pokemon companion, but not in the same way a trainer does.
What does the Ranger do exactly?
They range, but like they make sure that the region that they have jurisdiction over is safe for both the people and Pokemon. If there's some sort of natural hazard or something going on, they get in there with the Pokemon to either figure it out or evacuate people. Think about like actual what do we call them? The people who work at national parks.
Oh, yeah. Park rangers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, park we do call them rangers. You're like a park ranger, but in a Pokemon world.
Okay.
You're a Pokemon
that's
ranger.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would definitely do that if I couldn't be a trainer. As a matter of fact, I'd probably be a trainer. Mm-hmm. And if, I got to the age where I got to support myself and I'm not like a professional, well, then I'm gonna look into becoming a ranger.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that sounds amazing.
If I can be in that universe, I know exactly what I would always go for, because I actually liked it when they do show this in the Pokemon cartoons. Mm-hmm. I want to be a commentator in the big battle. I would love to be those dudes where you're just like, it's in the huge stadium, and they're fighting, and you're like, and now we got Will Stark from the whatever the city of blah blah blah.
I would regardless of my life, like I would be so into the Pokemon sports stuff.
Yeah,
like,
oh my
it would
God,
be what baseball is for me now. Mm-hmm. I would be following like the best.
You know how much money you drop on those kind of paraphernalia for that?
Jeez. Hell yeah.
But dude, could you imagine?
And now it's time for old news.
Hey everybody, Will and Tom here, bringing you some old news. So in episode 14, Knack to the Future. Last episode. I know it's not that old, but Will talked about his uncanny ability. Will, would you like to refresh everyone's...
you're talking specifically about my so-called white cloud ability?
Yes.
I ward off crises, and everywhere I go, nothing seems to happen bad.
Exactly. And we were recently made aware of how real this ability may be because of the fact that me and Will normally work together, but we do have a couple days where we work alone, and there's actually a particular day where Will called off and I was left at work by myself. Now, this day was a Sunday, and Sundays are usually very slow. Very slow. Almost no calls.
And the entire week moving up to Sunday was a very slow week.
It was also a slow week too. Yeah. And Will called off, and I was here by myself, and all hell broke loose. I got literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I think I got probably 5 to 7 calls within 1 hour, which is a lot for not only just our property, but on a Sunday. Right. I got people who were partying out of control. I had a fire at at one place,
you had to call the fire department, right?
Yeah, I had to call the fire department. I almost had to call law enforcement because of certain things that went on, and it was very apparent to me that, man, Will is not here. His ability is not helping me right now. I was telling Will, I don't care what's going on. You bring your white cloud back over here this instant.
Well, I would have if I could have, but I guess we'll have to see if it continues. But as of right now, Tom is believing that my ability is real.
Mm-hmm. And I'll update my ability on the good luck probably later in June when we record another episode. Because I'm gonna really try to remember to see what happens when I walk by people or sit down next to them at these games.
Yeah. People are going to be like, why are you looking at me?
I know, yeah. I'm going to end up being escorted out of every casino.
Sir, you're making too many of our customers uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But, dude, could you imagine?
And That has been Old News.
And that is all we have for you tonight. We will continue to bring you up-to-date coverage as new imaginings develop. Please don't forget to leave an iTunes review, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube and on Twitter at DCYimagine. And if you would like to contact us or tell us what you are imagining, you can email us at dudecouldyouimagine@gmail.com. This has been Fritz Frivolous, and from all of us here at Dude Could You Imagine, keep on imagining.
So I told you that was going to be a long one.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.